If you can hear me now. There we go. So yes, guys, welcome back. Grant Talks Funny Bits live on Sunday. It's been brilliant. Do you know, it's been weird. It's been a busy summer season, and I've missed a couple of these as well. But we're back on it tonight with an amazing hypnotist. And it's weird because we've not had technical difficulties for ages, and we both had a bit of a panic on for a few moments. And I've just lost him. He was there. Dylan, whatever you did, just click back in. Oh, he's back again. There we go. That is perfect. So great. There we go. First comment, Natasha Stanley. There we go. Chelsea Morgan says, we can hear you now. Perfect. There we go. So without further ado, please get those questions, those comments, those suggestions. Get them going. Keep that engagement up. Tonight's a fantastic fellow British stage hypnotist. It isn't a very American heavy show this sometimes. We've been trying to push for some of those Europeans to come in. I keep seeing Dylan dropping in and out, but hopefully that will be sorted. So the moment he comes back in again, we will get him on here. Dylan is an amazing stage hypnotist. He does a lot of the holiday park work as well, and he's quite recently featured on Happy Campers. So it'll be interesting to get his perspective on how that has kind of changed his bookings. Did appearing on TV get him more bookings or not? I'm sure it does. I'm sure it does. But yeah, great guy and a nice guy as well. So let me just, there we go. I can see him back. He is here. Please get your applause emoji going. Make him feel very welcome. The one and only Dylan Lovegrove is there. Where is he? Is he there?
Can you see me? Hello. Can you hear me? Hello.
I can see and hear you. There you are.
Oh, you can see and hear me. I can hear you as well now. Hey, we made
there
it.
You go.
Aliens in the system.
Start of stage and screen.
Oh, here we go. That's better. I couldn't hear you at all then. Sorry.
All right, there we go. So I was just saying start of stage and screen. How are you? I must have had a friend contact me a while ago kind of asking if I knew you. So I'm like, yes, absolutely. Yeah, they saw you on Happy Campers, I think it was.
Oh, yeah, Channel 5 Happy Campers. Yeah, that was a bit of luck, that was.
Well, there's no such thing as luck, you know, it's opportunity, being in that right place at the right time. So yeah, well done on that. So how are things for you? I mean, you were working last night.
Yeah.
How did that? I've not spoke to you since. How did last night go? First of all.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. So last night it was really good. It turned out to be a really good show, but it was one of them where I started to do a drop back on one of the young members. Okay, yeah. So I got everyone sat down, done it. The pre-talk was good. The energy was amazing because you know yourself, if the energy's good, then you can get the show is pretty much 90% there. Yeah. So everyone was interacting, they were cheering, they were giggling. It was like, yes, this was, you know, I felt the energy, great. And I got my first volunteers up. Everyone came up. I had about 11.
Nice.
And so I done the question, put your hands up if you're anyone here talks or walks in their sleep. So a couple of lads put their hands up. So I said, right, put your hands up if you want to be hypnotized, making sure that they was, you know, wanting the experience and explained that to be hypnotized, you know, you've got to want the experience, right? So yeah, they all put their hands up, they're all eager. So brilliant, it's going well. So I've got this one lad, and with the well, after doing the training with you guys, like for the drop backs, because I never used to do it, so now I do drop backs. So I got this one lad, and he must have been he looked about 20 years old, 18, something like that. He was young, right? So yeah, got him in the middle, sat him up, put him down there, got his arms, made sure he was relaxed, take a breath in, look up, dropped him back, and he's just smiling. And I'm thinking, oh crap, he hasn't gone under. And it's always the first one's vital, because that's the one where people go, oh my God, that's incredible. And I didn't get that. So he was on the floor just smiling at me like that. I'm holding his hand. I'm thinking, this one's gone. So I said, okay, my friend, no worries. Just get up. I've sent it back into the audience. Said, no worries. You know, just go and enjoy it from the audience perspective. Blah, blah, blah. And then I got this next lad who was, again, a young lad who put his hand up, somnambulist, enthusiastic, ready to go. So he's then stood up. I've got him. I've stood him up there, and he's looked at me like he's gone, I'm not going to piss myself, am I? So I said, no. I said, what makes you say that? He said, because I really need to go to the toilet. I was like, oh, okay. I said, yeah. So this was off mic, and he's then gone. I said, yeah, go to the toilet. So I've got to pick the mic up, and I'm laughing. I'm going, ladies and gentlemen, The gentleman there, he's just said he needs to go to the toilet. Now, one thing I've been saying all night during this pre-talk is that you need to be able to relax. Now, if you need to go to the toilet, you can't relax because you know what's going to happen. So everyone laughed, and then I had to sort of completely redo the induction, which threw me off. It did throw me off, but I persevered and got them to do a eye stare, stuff like that. And I was left with, at the end of it, 2 decent subjects.
Nice.
But they were brilliant. They were really good.
Nice.
So it went well. It did go well. Yeah.
Interesting you say about like sometimes when they've got that big grin when you lay them down on the floor as well. I had a subject the other night. I don't know the correct terminology of them. Is a member of the committee who actually ended up being the star of the show, but he's gone down brilliantly. But like you said, big grin on his face, and in my mind and in his mind, he's not where I want him to be. And then in the first skit, kept opening his eyes, and I'm going, just close your eyes. It kept opening them, and I'm like, just close your eyes. But then something along the way happened, and he ended up being a brilliant subject. And I think sometimes when they go down at first, and like you said, they're grinning and they're laughing to themselves, it makes them feel a bit safer when they think, oh, I'm not hypnotized, I'm safe. Sometimes I think that can be a really good wedge in there, sort of thing, to get them to go even deeper. But it's one of those that it's like you said about the drop back being one of the first ones. You want to make sure that one's a good one, because otherwise you're like, oh shit. Do you know what I mean?
Totally. Yeah. I was hoping, because like obviously when you know someone's a somnambulist, you think, oh, okay, they should, in theory, law of averages, they should be great and go, out. But yeah, it didn't happen. So obviously there was a bit of resistance there, whether it was nerves or whatever. But yeah, so it threw me off. And then the next guy, I thought, well, that's all right, that's fine. That happens, send him back. I probably should have put him back in the seat with the volunteers and persevered. But it was just what I was going through at the time in my mind. Yeah. And then so get the other guy, and then he said, he was another somnambulist, and then he said, I really need to go to the toilet. And I went, this ain't working too good at the moment. Right, go to the toilet, my friend. Yeah, it was all right.
It's that whole toilet thing is the one thing. I'm sure you do the same. I always like to speak to them afterwards, especially the people that didn't stay on stage, and kind of go, what was the process for you? And most of the time it'll be that, you know what, I started to feel it. I started to get to that place, and then I realized I needed the toilet, and I didn't want to wet myself on stage. And so, it's I actually have a line in my walk on music. And I always think maybe I should take that out, because the line is, the guy made me laugh so hard I wet myself.
Oh, right.
And I always kind of think, oh, maybe I should take that out of the walk on music, because that in itself's a suggestion.
Yeah, true.
But yes, I mean, it's a crazy thing about what we do. So how's I mean, the last time we spoke was mid-COVID.
Yeah.
So yeah. How have things been since then? I've seen you've been doing some really cool stuff as well, kind of doing the quit smoking stuff as well at a couple of hotels, which I think is a brilliant thing. So tell me about that first show back after COVID. How was that?
Yeah, it was good. The first show after COVID was the one in Blackpool, and it was weird because that was the one where it was, distancing, masks, gloves.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you have your flow. You don't have your flow when you got that. No, and I mean, that one was because it was Blackpool. It was 18s plus. So I like to do the holiday parts because I've got kids myself. I quite like just the fun stuff. I do a bit more adult entertainment. But I remember that show was like, I had my mask and everything, and I do the like the spiral with the it makes your head expand. Well, what I'd done was I had a blow up penis about that big, right, at this part of the entertainment. And so I'd done the spiral, and I said, now look at my penis grow, right, as part of the joke. And the first person I see when I look to my right, I look down to my right, and there's like this 10-year-old girl in the audience. I'm not joking. And I just sank, and it just totally threw me off. And I just went, oh. And I was told it was 18s only. I don't know how, I don't know how that happened. But yeah, so it threw me off, and luckily she might have been like obviously with the owners or someone. But yeah, that threw me off. But it went all right. It was tricky because of like the social distancing, and obviously you like to have them together. But I got a show out of it, but it didn't feel nice. Didn't feel comfortable.
It's I think that's part of the process of being a working stage hypnotist, especially in the UK, because I believe we have some of the toughest audiences in the world,
Yeah.
because I think Brits as an audience want to kind of go, right, entertain me,
Yeah.
but I think that's it. I think the difference between a successful and a non-successful stage hypnotist is getting out there and just doing the shows. And you have a challenging show, you get out there, you do another challenging show, and hopefully you learn from each one, if you know what I mean. It's but I say I love my challenging shows. I love my challenging shows after I've done them. And I've done a good show since then, if you know what I mean. Because you do a couple of challenging shows on the bounce and you go, is it me? Is it me? Have I forgotten something?
Yeah.
I really panicked coming back from COVID. Because like my first maybe 3 or 4 shows, just hard work. Like everything about them was hard work. And I kind of thought everyone's going to be keen to be getting back out there. Everything's going to be wonderful. But yeah, I had a couple of weddings that were pre-COVID weddings. And they were like, wow, I'm glad they'd paid me up front because they'd have never paid me after the show.
Oh no, I hate them ones.
Yeah, it was, but hard work. And then you kind of go, have audiences changed since COVID? Have I changed since COVID? But then luckily since then, you get back in the saddle and you bash them out and you do more stuff. I know my mentality's changed. I love traveling. But I like staying at home as well now more than what I used to. I got used to being lazy. So tell me about the stuff you're doing with the therapy side of things as well. You're doing a quit smoking seminar.
Yeah. So we're doing one on the 25th of September in Shepperton and the Holiday Inn. We done one in March, and we had it so it was 12 people. I know like some hypnotherapists, they can do 200 people, but I'm not comfortable with that size in case of like ab reaction or something. So we got this one coming up on the 25th, and the idea around it was I didn't really like originally the idea of doing stop smoking because I like to focus on an individual and sort of give it whatever they give me for their change, it's all specific to them. However, because I'm finding this year, I don't know about yourself, but with therapy, not many clients are coming forward for self-help. They're not. I think they're rather, maybe not everyone, but maybe they're dealing with their issues and just thinking, well, I need the money. I've got to keep the money. Smoking, I think, is an important one because obviously it's one of the therapies that we do where the individual saves money. Yeah. So anxiety. You could save money if you look at certain aspects of it, but smoking's a guarantee. You stop smoking, you stop spending money on cigarettes. And so people are still reluctant, though, to sort of spend them. And I know that you have to put value on your health. I understand that. But I find that, some people will still put their health on the subs bench and say, well, we need to pay the bills. This hypnotist wants, 150, 200 pounds, whatever people charge for a single session. But with this, we're charging £65 per person. And we're sort of like saying, look, but what we do is we have a very long consultation to make sure that their mindset is in a good place. We're not just taking their money and go, oh, yeah, just come along. I want to evaluate them and make sure I'd say, look, you've really got to want to stop. It's not going to work. Save your money so I scale them and, just trying to get an understanding of where they're at, which hopefully gives them a higher percentage rate of passing and succeeding in stopping smoke.
I think as a stage hypnotist, for me, I think there's a magic of working with groups. I've always, in the early days, I loved one-to-one clients. Now, I'm not as keen for one-to-one clients as what I am to doing a stage show. Financially, it's better for me to work in groups, and sometimes. Sometimes the clients can take a lot of energy from you with that. I think there's a magic with stage hypnosis or group hypnosis that I believe the client can actually get a deeper, more profound change because the whole energy in the room. There's a bit of like exactly the same as a stage show. There is some compliance, there's some psychological peer pressure. There's that energy in the room that's all pushing them towards the same place that makes them go, wow, it's magical. So yeah, I'm a big big fan of the group stuff. So when I saw you were doing that, I thought that's absolutely spot on.
Yeah, you know what, as well, Grant, you say that, and have you noticed, as like I have, that when you do a stage show, you get them in a line, and I find that you normally get like the same group of people in the same section that go under together.
Yeah.
And they're not like, so sometimes I find that I have 4 people on the left all together that are deep. I don't know what it's about it, but it always seems to be that they're grouped, and then the others maybe be lighter, not as deep and stuff like that. So what I've found as well is that if you do get someone who is very deep, someone who's not, and they're sort of looking around at you, I try to keep them there, because I find that their presence there, as long as they're not giggling at wrong times, just, you know, because then a person senses that. I try to keep them there so that the person, because when someone moves out of their chair, they know that, you know, especially if there's no skits going on, then they're not meant to be doing anything. So, but there seems like, you're right. There's something with groups. There's definitely so. I don't know what it is. I don't know what the woo woo of it is, but there's something there. Right?
I'm always anti woo woo, but I'll be honest with you. You know, I'm getting quite woo woo in my own age. Do you know what I mean?
I'm finding the woo woo. Yeah.
Crystals back here. Salt lamps are going to be here next. Get rid of these coloured LEDs and salt lamps. Do you know what I mean? Start with a kaftan and everything. But there is, especially in that committee, that line of people in your show. If you get, it works the opposite. If you get someone that's disruptive, that's not under, that can spread down the line just the same way as the other way. So it is. I mean, I always try and lean them on the person next to them, because I want the heaviness of that person leaning on them to, in and of itself, be a suggestion that that's what's going to happen to them.
Yeah.
And then you get them to the energy of that thing, you know, is going down that line, and they're all going to start performing, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
There's definitely a woo-woo-ness to the success of it.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely. And you're right as well. And funny enough, actually last night, there was a gentleman that sat in the middle, and he looked like he was going to be a good subject. He seemed to be, but you know, sometimes they get that fear. So what they do is they'll break themselves out of it because they can feel it happening. They say they want to be hypnotized. Yeah, they put their hand up. I could be hypnotized. And when they realize it's happening, so what he started doing was he started talking. He started saying something like, and so I literally instantly grabbed him out. But he broke. The volunteers, as I was packing away, came up to me and said, I really felt I was there. I honestly felt I was getting there. But then the guy next to me started saying, and it was that was it. So you know, it's so fragile at that point. You know, it's
absolutely
crucial.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's the word. It's fragile. You know, I get it, and you will as well. Those people at the beginning where sometimes, you know, they don't realize they're hypnotized, and then they open their eyes and they see the person next to them doing something stupid or silly, and they panic, and they're like, "Oh shit, I'm hypnotized," and then that kind of brings them out a little bit. So I mean, I kind of do it. My first 2 skits are eyes closed, just because I want them to forget about all of this. I want them to forget about all the other people. And I want them to get to that point where it's the point of no return for them.
Yes.
You know, once they're there, that's fine, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I like to see the strugglers. You know, like you say, the people that are fighting it a little bit. And I'll tell the audience, like, you'll see the person that's twitching the fingers and touching the fingers together to try and stay conscious. I'll point out to the audience, I'll say, you'll see different reactions up here. You'll see some guys, you know, twitching their fingers in order to try and stay here and now, and try and leverage that. But I mean, it's fascinating.
And what you said there as well, I find now, as I do my shows, I like to be not just entertaining, but educational as well. I love that. I love to say, ladies and gentlemen, what you'll notice here is this subject of a very deep state, and this one here a bit lighter. And so I can make a bit of a joke of it, like, you know, them the dead weight ones, they don't want to do anything. They just sit there, but they're quite happy to be. And sometimes I leave them just to have the experience and make a joke and touch them on the shoulder. Go, person shoulder, I'm touching now. I want you to just relax deeper. And or, you know, put their arm out and say, you know, put your jacket on their arm and say, right, you can just hold my jacket there for a little while, whatever.
It's a great point, is that, because especially with a lot of the training out there, the training puts it out that everyone's going to be really animated, everyone's going to be brilliant, you're either in hypnosis or you're out of hypnosis. There's a lot of that out there, but when it comes to the reality of a gigging stage hypnotist, is you will get someone that's a great hypnotic subject, go into hypnosis brilliantly, but they're not a great performer.
Mm.
You know,
Yes.
they're going to sit there relaxed. They're not going to do anything stupid, but they're just going to go into that wonderful place. And as a performer, like you said, to then still utilize that, to still use them and not dismiss them is a really great way of dealing with them, because it keeps them in the show. It keeps that good energy there as well.
Yeah.
And the audience still sees something funny, if you know what I mean. They're still seeing that person's arm stuck out there, or they're completely relaxed. You're still giving the audience the goods. So that's a really great point, is that?
And the interesting thing about last night was that I was only left with 2 subjects, and the lady that was right on the end, she was just absolutely, like the floppers, not literally on the deck, like, but she was just and she was gone. The other lady, because this lady, the flopper, she wasn't actually very good in any sort of suggestive way. She was doing a little bit like the racehorse, but like they're there, but they're not quite giving it their full energy. And you're trying to, if I touch you on the shoulder, you can go faster. And she was good. She was still there creating something, which was lovely. But the lady that was next to her seemed to be a bit more fidgety and a bit more movement, a bit more. But she was a better subject. She was amnesia. She was great with all types of. I could have pretty much got a lot done with her. But what I did do is, you've probably done this yourself, because there was only 2 at the end. I try and keep their eyes closed as long as I can during the performance, so I know that they're at a depth where, when I do get them to open their eyes, they're beyond the point of no return. So know that when they do open their eyes, they're not just going to go, "Oh, hang on a minute, it's just me." Because that's happened before as well. If they peak and go, "Oh, hang on a minute," if they're not deep enough, they can get that conscious awareness and come back. But yes, that was interesting from this.
It's one of the good things, and I learned this from a great hypnotist who's local to me here as well. A great hypnotist, probably one of the hardest working hypnotists I know. And it's, do you know what? If you can put on a good show with 1 or 2 people, then you can put on a show anywhere. And especially when we see a lot of the YouTube stuff out there, we see a lot of the Americans out there where it's a very different market, 15, 20, 30, 50 people on stage. In the UK, it's very rare we get those type of numbers. It would be nice.
Yeah, I know. I have jealousy at that. Do you know that? I see it and I'm like, oh, look.
Yeah,
20 people in a row.
Nuts. But if you can, and that's the thing, if you can deliver an entertaining show with a couple of people, it doesn't matter how many is on stage. There's a great hypnotist, Assad Mekki, I think he's called, who does a thing with Colin Mockery. They do a show together called Hypprov. It's hypnosis and improv combined. Brilliant show. Saw it at the Edinburgh Fringe twice. It's now on Broadway. Brilliant show.
He used to do Whose Line Is It Anyway, didn't he?
Exactly.
Oh,
so
brilliant.
That's what they mix that. I mean, because hypnosis is improv.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
So to then mix the comedian from Whose Line Is It Anyway with a great hypnotist as well.
Genius.
Oh, brilliant. They have a keyboard player that plays the music. And they go, and this was a massive theatre, hundreds and hundreds of people. And they go, we're looking for 5 people. That's it. They don't want 20, 30 people on stage. They want 5 people. That's it. And the show is absolutely amazing. So I think sometimes as hypnotists, we look at our own egos and go, we want 30 people on stage and we want, and sometimes that can be too much. You can do a show with 1 person. You can then do a show anywhere. And that's the thing. It's about being entertaining.
Yeah.
On a slightly different note, I see in the comment section as well, Chelsea, your partner is a hypnotist as well, and she helps you on stage as well. Yeah,
she's so it's great because obviously it gives that sense of security as well. Chelsea knows what she's doing. I always say that when we do the pre-talk. I say, and with me tonight is Chelsea. She's also a hypnotist, hypnotherapist. You're in good hands tonight. Adds to that. But yeah, so she's great at spotting things, and if she'll get my attention, and if there's someone who's play acting or messing about, she's get rid of them. But yeah, it's really for me, it just makes me feel more relaxed knowing she's there helping. But sometimes we've got kids, so sometimes I have to do them on my own. But it's just, yeah, it's much better when we're together, group together. So
Yeah,
cool.
absolutely. And I think it gives you a sense of security to know there's a friendly face on stage as well.
Yeah.
Natasha's just said a great point as well, by saying they only want 5 people on stage adds to the element of competition, so people will automatically try harder. Absolutely,
Totally.
spot on.
Yeah,
spot on.
absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
And that's what we've got to do. We've got to change their minds when they're on stage. You know,
Mm.
we've got to make them to earn that space that they've got up there. So
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think it was Chris Carrez who said that he doesn't sit them down. He says
Yeah.
that they stand up, he will pick. He said you have to earn your position, your spot to be the star.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's great. That's a great idea, you know.
Yeah. Because that's what we want. We want those people that are gonna do as they're told.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
do
right. Yeah.
good. So you say Chelsea is a hypnotherapist. Has she not tried doing the stage stuff? And if she has, out of the two of you, who's the better hypnotist?
Oh, she's listening in now, I'm sure. So I'll be careful with this answer. Oh no, she's amazing hypnotist, hypnotherapist, amazing. Yeah. So I want her to do stage with me.
Yeah.
That's the plan, because I think as a combo, as a partnership, I think we'd be amazing. So that's going to be something that we're looking to doing. But yeah, so that's.
Yeah, there was a couple a few years ago. They weren't. I don't think they were a couple at the time. In fact, Shawn Michael Andrews, that was on a couple of weeks ago, he did a thing with another female hypnotist, and I think it was like Mr. and Mrs. Hypnosis. There's definitely something to that. One, there needs to be more female stage hypnotists.
Yeah.
But 2, having that dynamic, a male and female on stage, will work absolutely amazingly.
Also, did you notice I didn't actually answer the question to that? I don't know what the
very
politicians do.
She's just actually privately messaged me saying she's 10 times better than what Dylan is. I don't want to cause an argument.
Yeah, next question, please, Ron.
There we go. Yeah, she's just put up maybe something for the future.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I'd love that. That'd be amazing. I would absolutely love that. I think it'd be fantastic. You know, and it sort of, in a way, it sort of takes the pressure off as well, right? So, you know, 2 of you doing it, and yeah, I think that'd be great.
By having the dynamics of a male and female, especially with you both being a couple, I think that works. I've seen like 2 male stage hypnotists do a show together, and that the problem with that is there's always, guys can't help it. I can't help it. There's ego that gets involved. Right. You know, who's going to deliver that line? Who's going to, you know, that kind of gets involved. By the fact that it's male and female, masculine and feminine energy, stops that. And by the fact that you're a couple, that energy, that connection works even better. I think the only time it would be an issue is if you've had a bit of a row before the show.
Yeah, right. That's it. Yeah. And sleep. You sleep.
Yeah. So that's fantastic.
But yeah, you're right. I think you could do some like funny skits where you have like that, you know, the man side, the woman side, and you could do a really good bounce off with, you know, I can imagine so many different varieties, different variations that you could come up with.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're getting Jim Wand and Kenda Summers and Misty and the Sandman. David, you're absolutely right. Misty and the Sandman, a brilliant couple together as well. So yeah. So tell us about your TV stuff. I know you did the airport one. I forget what that one was called. But you did the airport one, and that kind of led into other opportunities.
Yeah, that was Britain's busiest airports, which was an ITV. So the arrangement with them, they said, "Oh, would you be happy to go?" Because I remember a manager saying, "Oh, there's, you know, ITV want to come here and do filming." So I sort of walked out of the room, stopped, and thought, "Hang on a minute." Yeah. Went back and went, "Do you reckon that, like, I'll be able to put myself forward if I can talk about my hypnosis stuff?" I thought, yeah, opportunity knocks. He said, "Oh, we'll have a word with them." So we had a meeting with the main producer and the cameraman, and I just said, "Look, I'll be able to do it. I'm not expecting any payment, but can I please put forward what I do in my personal life, you know, as an entertainer?" And they said, "Yeah, that's great. We love putting people's private life stories in there." So the poor cameraman on the day of filming, you know, it was just hypnosis, this, hypnosis, that. He said, "Yeah, so where are we going?" I said, "Yeah, you know, with hypnosis." I was driving him crazy, just like, you know, but he was fascinated, as everyone is. Yeah. So they did literally get, like, I think a couple of minutes of what I do. They didn't put any adverts out or any sort of, you know, that, because they weren't allowed, but it was still good to to be able to say what I do and, you know, and put it out there. So yeah, it was great. I really was appreciative of that.
Yeah. And it did the job perfect. Like I said, there's a couple that I know that I was doing some live streams during lockdown, and they actually came to the studio here. And Adam has literally said to me, like, "Oh, do you know this guy called Dylan?" And I'm like, "I do actually, yeah." Why? I went, "Oh yeah, we're watching this thing the other night, and there's a hypnotist that's on there." You know what I mean? I'm like, "Oh, God damn it.
It's working. It's working.
Exactly. Well, no, and that's it. It's I do some background stuff on Coronation Street. It's literally nothing. It's like the back of my head walking away, but it genuinely gets me bookings because it puts you at the front of mind with people, and they go, "Oh, why don't we try that?" So
yeah, absolutely. Exposure in it.
Exactly.
The one that we had with the happy campers was fantastic luck. We got to do the holiday park down in Cornwall, and the guy said, "Oh, you're booked in for this date next month, and on that day we've got Channel 5 coming to do their filming. Would you be happy to get filmed?" I was like, brilliant, absolutely. So that and that was great because I had the ITV situation. So that was based on the airport. That my side of it was a snippet because it weren't really about that. And I understood that as much as I was biased and trying to put as much as I could. But when it was the Channel 5, when we got there, it was all about the show. Awesome. It was all about, and it was just so nice to be able to talk about hypnosis and not have to direct it anywhere else, but just, explain a bit about, what happens. What a lovely opportunity that was. And we were so thankful to have that, which was brilliant.
Yeah, and a good lesson to anybody watching this as well, that, if an opportunity kind of goes, here's an opportunity, then go, yes, totally. I want to do that. Can I do this? Can I talk about this? As Absolutely. Brits, we shy away from too much self-promotion, if you know what I mean. Whereas the reality is we've got to push that forward sometimes. We've got to kind of go, this is who I am, this is what I do. And that's what opens doors. So yeah,
totally. I mean, since I spoke to you last time on when you last done one of your live feeds, and you said, "Oh, Dylan, get on TikTok, do it." And I've started doing it since you said that, and I've started to learn because sometimes I don't go into these platforms where you can be seen like that. And when you said it, I thought, oh, I'll go for it. So that boosted me into why not have a go and then see what it's all about. So I'm learning. It's one of them situations where we got to get out.
The algorithm on TikTok is brilliant. And it's good for getting eyeballs, if you know what I mean. Everyone wants to be monetized on YouTube, etc., etc., etc. But TikTok is, if you get it right, it's just brilliant. It just gets lots of kind of eyeballs, and ultimately, that's the exposure. That's what you want, someone to look at that and then go, that fascinates me. I'm going to look a little bit deeper into it. I'm then going to follow Dylan, and then going to find his YouTube. I'm going to find his Facebook, and it goes further down that rabbit hole. So. It's and it's still a fairly new platform, which is quite good. So,
that's it. And everyone seems to be on there, and it's getting more it's getting more people on there. I see everyone seems to be doing TikTok now. So
there's some there's a hypnotist, if he's watching, please do respond to my message. I want to get you on the show. But there's a great hypnotist on TikTok at the moment. He's got a wonderful induction. I love it. It's like an arm pull and an arm chop. It's great. You'll know who it is if he's on TikTok. It pulls the arm and then chops the shoulder, and they drop down. It's dead elegant.
Yeah.
Where he's took it to the next level that gets people talking, and it's great. And again, if you're watching this, please respond to my message. Where he's literally dropping them into the swimming pool with their iPhones. And it's a great demonstration of hypnosis, because there is people with their iPhones looking at the phone. He does the arm pull, and then they just go backwards into the pool. And even as a hypnotist, I'm watching that, and I'm fascinated by it. At the same role, I'm like hypnotizing them and then dropping them in water, But I think he's just done over either a million followers.
Oh wow!
Exactly.
Right. Yeah, that's it. He's doing something different. That's what it's all about, isn't it? Doing something different.
And it gets people reacting to it.
Yeah. So, if I ever meet him, I'll just make sure I get water damage insurance on my phone.
Exactly. I saw it. I thought he must have a deal on the phone with them, because that's nuts. But it gets people talking. It makes people go, "Is it real? How can that be real?"
Yeah,
The more people get fascinated with what we do with the hypnosis, the more chance we have of putting bums on seats.
Totally. I know you're on about as well, because I watched one of his videos and there was like, he had like 5 of them in a row and they all went, I was like, huh? That's different.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's about being different.
Yeah.
So, what impact did having been on Happy Campers, have on inquiries, on bookings?
I'll be totally honest with you. That it weren't as I was expecting the phone to just keep ringing. I've had a couple of bookings from it, but as you know, I was expecting lots more. But I think it was. I'm thinking next year maybe to because for me I can use it as a great selling point now. And that's what I do. It for some reason people, if you've been on TV, it seems to add so much. Wow, he's been on TV for whatever reason. So I'm using that in my emails that I send to anyone and everyone. And I say as well, what I say to people is, first of all, as you know, please don't make it a surprise. Do not make it don't do that, please, and explain why. So and I say, but here's a picture of there's a great pic that we got, and it's like says Happy Campers, and it's me with the audience, with the volunteers. So I say, use that and really do put that across to people and just say, as seen on TV, because it just adds to the believability, the credibility, and which in turn could add to the whole, which puts it under, because as we know, all hypnosis, self-hypnosis. So
it's like you said, the more they believe you're a hypnotist, the more successful the hypnosis is going to be. Yeah,
totally. And I'll be honest, like it's helped me feel more confident in doing shows. It does, because I find that I feel confident anyway when I do show. Well, in outwardly confident, and then internally you're going, oh my god, please, hope this goes well. Go on, give me enough volunteers, make sure they go under. But it's but now I do find there's a more relaxed kind of feel, that it's like, there's a real outwardly, visual credibility there that people can now see. So that kind of helps me sort of just relax. It's so hard starting off as a hypnotist, because it is literally like you're just climbing a mountain with nothing. Just a grip with your hands, doing your best.
And especially those first couple of shows as well, where you don't believe you're the hypnotist.
That's it. Yeah, totally. There's a real kind of you got to have the woo got watching over you to help you through that. I don't care what anyone says. You need some sort of luck, to get you through that, because it is very. I mean, you just don't know what you're doing. You're just actually like winging everything.
That's my career up to date.
Same. It's great. Same for me as well.
It's just like, I mean, it's one of the things I love about what we do, and there is a certain self-assurance. You do a lot of shows, the majority of them work well. There is a sense of confidence when you walk out on that stage that it's gonna go the way you want it to go. But then sometimes the universe goes, no. You need to put your feet back on the floor just a little bit.
Not. It's not going to go that way.
Exactly. I mean, I've done shows in venues where I've worked before, had volunteers come up on stage that I've hypnotized before, and in my mind, I'm like, this is a cakewalk. And then you go, boom, and the person goes, no, it's not working. And you're like, whoa. So afterwards, you're like, what happened? Why did that happen? Everything in the books tells you they've been hypnotized before, they'll go straight under again this time.
Absolutely. And it's funny you say that as well, because sometimes it's the opposite as well. You'll do a show where you look and go, oh my god, there's like 20 people here, I hope people turn up. And you're setting up, you're looking, still no one turns up, and there's like 25 people, and you're thinking, this is going to be awful, and it turns out to be an amazing show. I had that recently. I done a holiday park up north, over in Devon way, North Devon, and it was the first time I'd been at this holiday park, so I was all excited, and it was a big one. I was ready to go, and it was ready to kick off 10 minutes before the show, and I looked out and I see that there was only about 18 people. Wow. So I said to myself, no, I'm just going to go out there, I'm going to talk exactly how I normally talk with if there was 100 people, and I'm going to go for it. And it was one of the best shows I've done, because I think it was that, it was just the right energy for the people that were there. And I think maybe that was if there had been like hundreds of people, they might have felt a bit more, you know, there's quite a lot of people here. But because it weren't such a big venue for them, they were more relaxed. But all 5 of them went and straight away, you know.
Yeah. And I think sometimes when the audience is like that, and again, it comes from that confidence of being able to do a show with less people and less people in the audience, or as, you know, Justin Trance would say, dare to fail. When you do a show like that, it then helps you do a show anywhere. You know, it's when you look out and go, right, there's 12 people in the audience, you think, well, I've got to dig deep now. I've got to really make a connection with every single one of those people.
Yes.
You know,
that's vital. Yeah.
I did a 50th birthday party a couple of weeks ago. Talk about, it actually ended up being a great show. It wasn't a massively busy show because it was a birthday party. But actually, I always joke about my shoes. I have very expensive shoes that I wear just for stage, you know, and it puts me in my zone. But I was so keen to get out of the venue that I actually left my shoes behind. And I'm like, and I keep trying to send them an email like, listen, is there any chance you could send me those shoes back because they're expensive shoes?
Yeah,
I'm getting no response. So, but
no.
Sometimes your brain just goes on. Fraser Payman says, good evening. Bless him.
Oh, Fraser. Hello, my friend. Yeah, he's doing great at the minute. Fraser is brilliant. How you doing, Fraser? He's a top lad.
So yeah, it's so kind of what's next for you. I mean, it's coming towards the end of holiday park season now. We're coming into the Halloween season, which I don't know about you. For me, is always a challenge. For me, people always go, let's get a hypnotist for Halloween. And it's never as good as what it could be. So I always take bookings for Halloween. I'll never do ticket shows for Halloween because for me, Halloween tends to be a family holiday. So it is, but that's my personal experience. So are you getting ready for your kind of the Christmas corporate scene?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly that. The Halloween, I remember doing one for a holiday park, and I think that was the most sluggish one out of all of them. It just seems to be, if you do a show during August, mid-August, the energy seems to be higher because most people are, they're just in the middle of the holiday. It's great. And then you start to come September, October, people seem to, it just seems to be summer's ending, the energy's dropping, the nights are getting darker quicker, there's all that going on. So I think that's, I think I know what you're on about with that. I mean, Halloween for me, I don't really do much for that, but I do look to the Christmas corporate stuff, trying to advertise for get some gigs in for them.
Yeah, and then January is January, obviously.
January.
Fraser says he's well. Sorry for catching it late, and he hopes your show was a success. I mean, the holiday parks are a funny one because I have a couple of parks that I've worked with for a number of years, and I'm very lucky. And if they're watching, love you guys. But sometimes it can be, and this was a big learning for me a couple of years ago. Some of those parks, I'm there every week. And so, even though the audience changes every week, the team, the management, they're the same. So they see the same show every week. And so that's now becoming a challenge. So it's like having to do a different show or a new show every single week in order to keep the booker entertained and engaged.
Right.
So that's a challenge, is that?
I bet. Yeah, I bet. I mean, mine's sort of spaced out quite far between. So, but I know what you mean with that as well, because you kind of sometimes a show I do have a set. I think you've seen my set anyway when we met last year, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of what I do with the hot ice cream flies, squash, stuff like that. And it's nice for me because you're comfortable and you know how to, you don't have to think, you're already subconsciously motored automatically, so you can look at what you need to look at. So if you have to change it up, if you're doing that obviously for their crew, I can imagine that can be a bit of a stress, I'd imagine.
Well, it puts a pressure on it. And as you were saying then about coming towards the end of the season, you could start the season like boom, you are untouchable, but as it comes towards the end of the season, and that's the time when they're booking back for 2023, that's the time when you've got a chance of having a more challenging show. and at the time where they'll go, well. But for me, like those routines, when you become familiar with them, that's when you can really fine tune and polish them and really
Yes.
find, you know, what to me and you is quite unique. But to the average layperson watching it, they'll go, oh, it's hot and cold. And it's like, yeah, but it's not. It's better, deeper than that. There's more to it than that. There's lots of nuances. And by repeating that routine and getting it better, it becomes more and more polished.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
it becomes something. So
Yeah.
But yeah, again, I think within the hypnosis community, there's that whole, oh, it's that routine. That routine's been done since 1804. And it's like, actually, no, you know, that the main premise of that has been done since the beginning of time. The little nuances, the little looks to the audience, that all the little things that come out when you're familiar with your routine, it polishes it and polishes it and polishes it. So yeah.
And that's what makes the show, isn't it? It's, you know, that when you first start, you just want to do a skit and keep it black and white, no grey area, just that's it. I want to have that. But then, like you say, when you start to get confident, more better at it, you start to add little things, and they're the bits that get the people laughing, aren't they? So
I find that you know, I used to be able to fit in probably twice as many skits and routines as what I do now. Because now there's so much time spent in between the skits, pulling the audience in. David's got a great question. It says, how do you cope with audience members who clearly have no interest in the show and want to loudly chat to their mates?
In the audience, actually in the audience. I just put I put it on them. So if I'm doing the induction, because they can do that after the actual induction, as you know. So what I'll do is I'll say, okay, I'll speak to the volunteers. I'll say to the volunteers, right, guys, now to be hypnotized, all you need to be able to do is focus, concentrate on the words that I'm sharing with you, and be able to relax. Now, please do not talk to the person next to you. It doesn't happen often, but if it does happen, I will have to pull you out and send you back into the audience. So please don't talk. Give the person next to you the opportunity to experience this. Then I'll turn to the audience and say the exact same thing, but to them, say, ladies and gentlemen, now I want these people to have a fantastic experience, and I want you guys to see a hypnosis show. And for that to happen, please, can you be as quiet as possible? Because if you make noise, it could bring them out of hypnosis, and we don't want that to happen. So I put it on them, you know, and that's the best thing to do. So if someone does start talking, hopefully all the other people in the audience will look at them and go,
And I think you're absolutely spot on. Most audiences will self-regulate. They'll police that person that's been a disturbance in the audience. You know, I'll have a bit of a heckle with them and have some fun with them, but then after that, it's a case I want that audience to do it. What I've learned to do, and again, it depends on the audience for me sometimes, is rather than talking louder to kind of, you know, wash them out with my voice, sometimes I'll bring it down. And yes, there's a few moments where you kind of lose them a bit, but then everybody else in the audience has to listen harder because of this person. So it helps them ramp up then to be kind of like, will you shut up?
That's clever. That's very clever.
Because sometimes I've found, and again, it depends on the audience. Sometimes I've found that if I have to go louder and shout over them, it then becomes a battle between me and them. You know, where by taking it down a bit, it brings a bit of control back to me. And it makes them kind of, you know, police themselves a little bit. But don't get me wrong, that doesn't work all the time.
There's no always right formula, is there? That's the thing.
Audiences are fluid, you know, and that's it. That's it.
That's go on, sorry.
Yeah, Fraser says, do you guys take time off for Christmas, or is it so much of a busy time to slow down? Christmas is it's nuts. For me, pre-COVID, every year at Christmas, I always say I'm not going to do these jobs, but then I always go, Christmas is expensive, and then I end up doing them. You know, it's like I start November going, right, I'm going to be very selective, and I'm not going to work too hard this Christmas. I'm going to do it this way, and then I'm like, do you know what I mean? I'm not going to do that. I don't work Mad Friday. There's 2 weeks or 2 weekends in Christmas and I don't work, and that is like the Friday before Christmas and that last working day before Christmas. For some reason, Mad Friday or Black Eye Friday or whatever it's called, I
Oh yeah, I
always
know.
seem to get inquiries for it because venues know that it's one of the busiest nights of the year, so they want something on.
Yeah,
For me, New Year's Eve, that's it. New Year's Eve and Black Eye Friday are the 2 nights I refuse to work now.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
just because they're not there to see me or anything else. They're there to get drunk as they possibly can do on their boss's expenses or something else.
yeah,
But apart from that, Christmas pays for January and February for me.
yeah. It's for me. I'd find that I try to. Chelsea always like as a laugh at me because I'm always trying to give myself a break, but I never do. I just always seem to book things and go, and I think, yeah, no, that week I'll have it off. But there's always something going on, so But I think with Christmas, it's you start to feel a bit of a heaviness as well in yourself because in summer you've got that vitamin D's everywhere, you're flowing,
Yeah.
everyone's happy, and so it gets darker and there's a little bit of a lower energy. So I try to not do it as much, but it's like I say, they got to pay the bills.
Exactly. It's I love the end of Christmas. Once it's all done and dusted with, and once you've been, make sure you've got to every venue and not got stuck in the snow. Especially like Fraser Penman's part of the world, where it's Scotland, where even in July I think it's 6 foot of snow up there.
Yeah, totally.
So it's interesting. What's next for you?
So at the moment we're currently in talks with a few bars and venues across Europe, and to do a little bit of stuff in over that side of the pond.
Nice.
So we're gonna do a bit of it's something I've always wanted to do anyway. Go to Spain and sort of go to a few places around there, and also get a bit of a holiday out of it for the kids and stuff. So it's 2 birds with one stone. That'd be nice.
And I think it's good to go to those different places and hypnotize people. Hypnosis seems to be really popular on like French holiday parks as well at the moment now, which is really good.
That's interesting.
I don't speak French, but I see quite a few really good hypnotists that are doing really well in those holiday parks. So
good.
Which is really
that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's something that I've always wanted to do. And now the kids are a little bit older, and Chelsea used to live in Spain as well, which is interesting. So she speaks a bit of Spanish, and she only talks Spanish when she's round with me. I don't understand what she's saying. Interesting, but so no, it's something I've always kind of wanted to do, and now we feel like we could for the next summer do it, and we're in talks. She knows a few people out there that own bars, so it's it feels good to get out there now, and it had just for the experience, not to stay out there for months on end, but even if it's a week and just do a few places.
And like you said, it actually adds something to the holiday if you can be out there. You're on your holiday and be performing as well. It takes something off the bucket list.
Yeah,
and
totally.
It's all about polishing that stone, doing more shows in different environments.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, ideally, I'd love like Fraser's he went out to America and he done one of the college places, and I watched that. It looked brilliant. And again, it's that you look at it and you think, oh, you've got all those, and because they're at that peak age as well, suggestibility's heightened. And you just, I'd love to do one in America. I mean, that'd be, something to be thinking about in the future. Not just.
You know what? It's such a bizarre experience, and especially as Brits, when we're like, please come and volunteer, and they've said to me, they've gone, pick your volunteers, don't ask them to come on stage because they'll rush the stage. And I'm like, nah. So in my old routine, and you go, if you'd like to be hypnotized, come and join me on stage. I'm not lying. I actually thought it was going to be a stampede. Literally, like stuff was being knocked over. People are charging the stage, and I'm like, "Whoa, this is too much now."
Wow.
The mentality is so different.
So what did that do to your confidence then? I mean, that must have massively boosted you up confidence-wise.
Shooting fish in a barrel.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I mean, I always had my thoughts that's what that market was like. It is, I consider myself quite a good hypnotist anyway. And all of the nuances and the little tricks that I put into my stuff to make it work the way that it works, you don't need any of that. You just look at them and go, do you know what I mean?
Sleep.
Exactly.
Wow.
But then when you watch a lot of the American performers, you get a better understanding of their stage then and how they run it the way that they do it.
Yeah, I found that fascinating. Just briefly, because Mark Savard came over here and trained over here for 4 days, and I went to his training. It was brilliant, amazing. But then I learned that he has an American audience, and it is different, mindset with them to what it is with the Brits.
Yeah.
So when I went with you and Chris Carrez, I got that sort of like down to earth English touch of education in stage. And I took away so much stuff from it, and I felt like, when you do like Mark Savard again, he sort of gets to. I'm not saying it's like much easier, but I know it is a lot more easier because what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, and he's in Vegas. Yeah. So over here, it's like you say, you literally please anybody come up.
Yeah,
come up, please.
I do think, especially especially Northern English, venues, you've got to have that confidence. You've got to be able to deliver that show. If not, British audiences have just got a way of kind of going, right, we're going to get you.
Yeah. I found that in Blackpool, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
That was
especially.
Yeah. Oh, I'll tell you what, I was, I felt that when I'd done that show up there, it was one of them, but they were ruthless. They were absolutely ruthless. There's no F's given,
I always joke about my challenging shows, and Fraser's watching, so we'll make the Scottish twist to this version. I did a venue in Annan, which is just across the border into Scotland, in a venue that will remain nameless. But as I walked into the venue, there's big signs everywhere going, "Welcome to this venue, home of the Tartan Army, Scotland's #1 most Scottish pub." When England were playing Scotland at football, and literally I walked out and I've gone, "Good evening, ladies and gentlemen." I'm not lying. You've never seen like 150 Scots go fucking English.
Oh no!
And literally, I had to do the whole show with the whole audience with their back turned towards me. I had two bouncers at the front of the stage, stopping them from running on stage. It was a challenge.
I'll tell you what,
a challenge.
That's the kind of time when you want to go to the toilet and just like bring on a Scottish accent. Come on, you can do it. Yeah. Oh. Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, brilliant. Dylan, it's been an absolute pleasure to touch base with you again. We do need to meet up for an in-person coffee again soon.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, 100%. Thanks again for inviting me on your show. It's a pleasure. Thank you so much. Yeah. And we'll have to definitely get it arranged. Maybe before Christmas, meet up.
Definitely.
See if we can get like a halfway point or something like that. If you get a show, Birmingham area or somewhere or wherever. Yeah, we have to...
Quite interestingly, the other night, my diary's all over the show. I've started a new booking system, which is great. But luckily, the client on Friday, when you go, "Oh, do you know what? I've got a Friday night off. This is so rare. I'm so pleased with myself."
Yeah.
This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do the other. And I got a text message. Thank the woo-woo stars. I got a text message from the client going, "Looking forward to tonight's show."
No rest for the wicked, as they say.
Oh, exactly. It was only a 5.5 drive down to Southend-on-Sea.
Only 5.5.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, that's brilliant. But it's great because obviously, like seeing how busy you are as well. It's nice because same with Jason Simmons and Fraser.
Right, yeah.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah. So I've got to have a catch up with Jason as well. I ain't seen him in ages. Yeah. So it's but yeah, it's great to see. I think when I see everyone doing shows, it kind of gives you that, it spurs you on to sort of, maybe look into, advertising a bit. I think we sort of all build on each other, which is always what you mention in all these.
The more shows we do, the more people know that there is shows out there. The good thing and the negative thing about stage hypnosis, especially in the UK at this moment in time, is, and this is for me, this is the positives. Anybody, no matter how many shows you've done, anybody can walk into a venue and go, "I'm a stage hypnotist. I'm really good. This is my fee." And the person that's in booking that entertainment is probably going to go, "Oh, we've not had a hypnotist here since, probably maybe 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
Well, that's a little bit different.
Yeah.
And they'll book you. I actually know someone whose marketing strategy is literally like they knock on doors and go, I'm a hypnotist, do you want a show? Whereas if you're a singer, you've kind of got to prove yourself a little bit. If you're a comedian, you've got to prove yourself a little bit. As hypnotists, we don't need to prove ourselves. We literally go, I'm a hypnotist, and the person goes, oh, that's different. We'll book you. But that, by the same rule, that's also the negative. It means you can be terrible at what you do and still get bookings.
Yeah.
And then that person goes, we tried it. We had the world's fastest here and it didn't work. And then they don't. So, but the more hypnosis we do, the more people know about hypnosis. So,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, totally agree. Absolutely agree with that. Yeah, definitely. And like I say, I used to get the show real ready, go in there with a suit and stuff, you know, to venues, and I'll be like, oh, and I feel like I'd have to, but most of the time they're just like, oh, you're hypnotist, yeah, great, and they just book you. They're not worried about seeing anything. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, you don't need to sell to them. Just by the fact that you say you're a hypnotist is enough most of the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Dylan, it's been an absolute pleasure. Let me just pop up on the screen a link to your website as well.
Oh, thank you.
He says it's on here somewhere. I'll put it in the comment section. Otherwise, it's going to bring something else up there.
Yeah. Oh, hang on, mate. What's that?
Yeah, exactly. Is it Dylan Loves Hypno?
Yeah, www.dylanloveshypno.com. Yeah, that's the one.
.com. Dylan Loves. Spencer Bowers is here as well. Says great chat. Chelsea says great chat.
This is a new member of the family. Just here. Look.
See, I am a cat addict. That is my absolute weakness.
He's called Sonny Ray, but we should really call him Lethal or Deadly or something. That's what he should be called.
Sonny Ray makes him sound like a Ronnie Craze West End gangster.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that was his previous life, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
he's a bit of a lunatic, but he's a kitten, so he's at that wild age.
They don't go out of that. I had to. One of mine's just recently. I say recently, it's probably about 2 years ago now. Died. There was Hercules, who was my cat. He was a man's cat. He was from the streets. You couldn't stroke him because he would just scratch you to death.
Yeah,
he was just a wild animal, unless he was hungry, and then he was dead loving. And then Elmo, who's a pedigree cat, is a British short hair blue, cost more than my first car, and has got no cat instincts whatsoever. It's just fat, grey, depressed. I've got a laser pen and he won't do nothing. He just looks at the laser pen as if to go, listen, I'm a pedigree. I don't chase nothing. You can chase that for me.
That's brilliant.
I love him.
Yeah.
I love him.
Oh, I love the name Hercules. That is such a power name.
Exactly. Well, for me, Elmo should have been called Spartacus. It would have been Hercules and Spartacus.
Spartacus, yeah.
I mean, they're two good cats. But
yeah.
No. Natasha Tanner says, haha, Grant, you're a pussycat yourself. I am a pussycat.
Meow.
Meow. I'm going to edit that bit. That's going to be the highlight now. We had Dylan purring.
Yeah. Keep that. Yeah.
But Dylan, it's been an absolute real pleasure once again. And yeah, we'll definitely get that coffee sorted out. We'll have a bit of a get together, like a mastermind of stage hypnotists.
Brilliant idea, mate. Yeah, I really look forward to that. There's got to be done. Let's set a date and let's do that. That'd be brilliant. Yeah, I'd love to do that. Excellent stuff. Thank you. Thanks for having me on, Grant. It's been absolutely brilliant. Thank you.
Absolute pleasure. Take care.
Take care. Thank you, mate. Take care. Look after yourself.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.